And welcome back to the first ever edition of Crimson Tide Kickoff presented by Alpha Insurance and AT&T. We're here every week that the Tide plays, whether it's home or away. We hope you'll join us as well and pretty much start off your Alabama football Saturdays with Crimson Tide Kickoff. Now, if you're traveling from San Jose to Alabama, you would be going 2,283 miles. You would need 1,343 Golden Gate bridges to cover that distance. If you turned Mount Everest on its side, it would take approximately 415 of them. And if you took the Sears Tower, flipped it, you would need approximately 8,310 of them to stretch from San Jose to Tuscaloosa. In other words, it is a long way. But this man has made the trip. Mark Purdy, renowned columnist.
Not that renowned.
For the San
No
Jose
wonder I'm
Mercury
tired.
News.
No wonder I'm tired. It is a long way.
Yeah, thank
hey,
goodness
it's college football
Thank goodness
season.
for airplanes, right?
Yeah. Hey, it's college football season.
Hey, before we talk football, I want to get to the root of something.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're credited to some degree for naming McCovey Cove at AT&T Park, the water in the right field area.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think, from what I've read, it didn't initially come out as McCovey Cove. Kind of tell the story there real quick.
Oh, well, when they were building the ballpark, there was, I didn't think we'd be talking about this today. When they were building the ballpark, I could see that they were going to be able to hit home runs into this body of water beyond right field. And it was really China Basin Channel, and I thought, well, that's not a really good name for that. And Willie McCovey, who is an Alabama, great player for the San Francisco Giants, and I thought, well, you know, if he were still playing, left-handed hitter, he would have hit a lot of balls into that water. And they were going to build a statue of Willie Mays outside the ballpark, outside the home plate entrance. I said, what are they doing for Willie McCovey? And the answer was nothing. And so I wrote a couple of obnoxious columns saying, well, this is a shame, and they ought to name this water, take China Basin Channel off that, and name it after Willie McCovey. And amazingly, the mayor of San Francisco and the Giants went for it. Yeah, so one good idea in my life, I'll take it.
You're known for something.
And well, now I'm known for being on the first broadcast of the
Crimson Tide Kickoff Show.
Crimson Tide Kickoff Show.
And with that in mind, let's get to the matter at hand.
Yeah.
I read your column that you wrote recently. This is a daunting task for San Jose State. They're coming for the money. We know that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those young men want to represent themselves well. They're looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah.
What is it reasonable to expect from this football team in this atmosphere against the #1 team in the country?
Wow, that's a really good question. You're right. They know what their role is here today, and their role is to come out, play the game as hard as they can, cash a paycheck so they can keep the football program kind of afloat there. I think a reasonable goal for them would be to maybe score a couple touchdowns, not lose too horribly. We were talking before about, it's interesting that San Jose State has a new head coach. It's a program that's struggled. People who are not familiar, it's an urban school, commuter school in San Jose. San Jose is the largest city in Northern California. And but they've been playing football there since 1893. They do have some tradition now, but they've struggled particularly in recent years. They've only had 2 winning seasons in the last 17 years. The new head coach, Mike McIntyre, was named Assistant Coach of the Year at Duke last year. His father, George, is a former Vanderbilt coach, and in George McIntyre's first SEC game, he played Alabama and lost 66-3. This is the sad part. George would, of course, have liked to have been here today, watch his son play Alabama in his first football game, but George has multiple sclerosis, is bedridden in Nashville, and we'll be watching the game on television. So I think Mike would like to do his dad proud, and of course the players would like to do themselves proud. I pretty much believe the game will be over in the first half. But if San Jose State's offense needs to show it can do some things.
So we're really down about 30 seconds, Mark.
I'm sorry,
but no,
I'm talking too long.
That's what we got you here for. Your impressions of Mike McIntyre. Here's a guy with ACC, SEC roots out there on the laid-back West Coast, just potentially in terms of his job there at San Jose State. Can he be successful?
Well, California only has 7 Division I colleges. It's the largest populated state in the nation. Mike thinks, as every other coach in California, if I recruit enough California players, I can get it. Mike has said that he knows for a fact there are like players in California that may only have 2 scholarship offers, so that if they were playing back here, they'd have 7 or 8. So there's a lot of talent out there that maybe gets unmined. He's hoping to unearth a few gems and do okay. They did in 2006. They did have a pretty good season under Dick Tomey. Went to a bowl, beat New Mexico in the New Mexico Bowl. I think that's a reasonable goal for them down the line. This year, it's good. Well, next people may know they got to play at Wisconsin next week.
Right.
They're going to be 0-2.
Hey, but they're going to be ahead in the bank account category.
About $1.1 million net after these first 2 games.
Well, Mark, when I read your column online or your game story, I expect to see something about being on the Crimson Tide Kickoff show.
All right, I'll see if I can slip that in there.
All right.
MercuryNews.com.
Hey, I appreciate it.
We need every reader we can get.
That's right. Get a plug in there. People will want to read about it after the game tomorrow. Well, still to come on Crimson Tide Kickoff, Alabama Athletics Director Mal Moore will stop by our set. He'll talk facilities as well as football. Plus, next on the program, we'll go around the SEC. Some of the folks that like to predict what's going to happen in college football thinks that Gene Chizik and the Auburn Tigers are going to win the SEC West. That kind of talk is fine with Chizik. We'll have it for you next on the program. Welcome back to the University of Alabama campus, the Crimson Tide Kickoff Show. Gary Harris, John Huddleston, and time now for the part of the show, John, where we take you around the SEC.
Yeah, Gary, in this week's roundup, a new era starts in the swamp, plus who let the dogs out on defense in Athens.
But first, we begin down on the Plains, where the expectations are really high. Coach Gene Chizik is set to begin his second season on the Plains tonight when Auburn opens up against Arkansas State. But looking past that game, some experts think Auburn might make a run at the SEC West title. And it doesn't sound like Coach Chizik minds that type of hype.
We know that at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything. You got to earn it on the field every week. But at the same time, they need to know that the expectation level out there for other people as they look on is high as well. And I think that's a healthy thing.
Meanwhile, down in the swamp, a new era under center begins today when John Brantley officially takes over at quarterback. What will the Gators do without Tim Tebow? Coach Urban Meyer isn't too concerned. In fact, he recently texted Brantley's father, John III, a former Gator quarterback in his own right, and told him not to worry.
I said, enjoy the ride. Your son is growing up to be a man. And that's, I hope I get that same text someday from someone, because that's really cool. And that is the truth. What he's done here in the last year has been exactly what we need to have happen. And that's, he's grown up, he's the leader of this team, and he's Johnny Brantley, that's good enough for us.
And remember that Georgia defense from last season? It just wasn't up to Junkyard Dog standards. Last December, Coach Mark Richt fired his defensive coordinator, Willie Martinez, and 2 other assistants. Now Richt is interested to see if the coaching change leads to positive changes on the football field.
You know, there'll be some offensive teams that make plays against us, and then we got to see how we're going to react. You know, that's going to be one of the biggest things for me this first game is, you know, how we're going to react to any kind of adversity that shows up, whether it's defense, offense, special teams. I mean, it affects everybody.
And here is the SEC slate for today. Got a couple early games. Miami, Ohio at Florida, Louisiana, Lafayette at Georgia. Then Kentucky at Louisville, JSU at Ole Miss, Tennessee, Martin at Tennessee, San Jose State, Alabama slated for 6 o'clock tonight, as is Arkansas State at Auburn, Tennessee Tech at Arkansas, and Memphis at Mississippi State, also Northwestern at Vanderbilt, and then the big game tonight, LSU versus North Carolina. Now for a look at the weather around the SEC, here's Richard Scott. Richard.
Hey John, this is what you call football weather. Gorgeous skies today, blue skies, no rain in the forecast. Show you what's happening across the southeastern U.S. with our regional radar and satellite composite. No rain, no clouds around here. In fact, the forecast for a couple of SEC games happening, not looking bad at all. In fact, we'll show you temperatures in the mid-70s at kickoff game towards Kentucky and Louisville around 2:30 kickoff time. Mississippi State Bulldogs plays Memphis at 6 o'clock, 79 degrees at kickoff temperature. Sunny skies all across much of the southeast and the eastern half of the nation. Auburn also playing Arkansas in Auburn. 6 o'clock kickoff around 6 o'clock. And don't touch that dial. We've still got a lot more to come. Up next, Gary Harris speaks with Travis Ryer with Bama Online and how big of a loss he thinks Mark Ingram will be. And also stay tuned to the second hour of Crimson Tide Kickoff presented by AT&T and Alpha Insurance. We will be right back.